One of the things that happens in the confessional, because we as Catholics, we go to confession, most of us will hear a sentence at some point toward the end of the rite. We'll hear, "For your penance, for your penance." And I am about to receive instructions from the pastor, from the priest, who's guiding me on my journey of restoration to go and bring forth fruit. Well, the joke is that most of us hear something about a certain number of Our Fathers and a certain number of Hail Marys. And it can almost be kind of a joke. Well, you got your 3 Hail Marys and your 2 Our Fathers. And at first, even my son and I spoke about this. He would say, the priest gave me 3 Our Fathers and 2 Hail Marys. And then he came out again, I got 4 Our Fathers and 2 Hail Marys. How come, Dad? How come I'm always getting the Our Fathers and the Hail Marys? And it's important to think carefully about this. That is the penance that you're most often going to get, at least as far as I've experienced it as a Catholic. You are guaranteed over the course of your life to have a priest give you that penance more than anything else. And because of that, I've had to think about this carefully. Okay, what do I make of this? If that's my penance, what do I make of it? When I wander into sin, at least 2 things have happened to me that these 2 prayers are there to correct. The first one is I've wandered away from God. Like Adam, I have listened to lies and I have listened to contrary voices. I have wandered away from my Father. So penance then is saying to, I will go to my Father, like the prodigal son says to himself. When he came to himself, he said, I will go to my Father. Well, that's why it's the number 1 penance in your penance. It's what the prodigal does. He says, I will go and say to my Father. So I need to do that. My first penance is to go and talk to my Father again. If I've sinned, it's because I stopped. I stopped talking to my Father. But what about these Hail Marys I'm supposed to do? Well, we understand from Catholic ecclesiology, Mary is, as Pope Benedict XVI says, the church at its source. So what else have I done if I've sinned? Well, I've walked away in some way from my accountability and my communion and my relationship with fellow Christians who could have kept me out of this if I turned to them and said, help, I think I might fall into this sin. And so praying the Hail Mary prayer is a way of acknowledging that I'm in a communion that's just bigger than me. It's a way of entering back into communion with the family of God, beginning with the church at its source, and saying, pray for me, this sinner, now and at the hour of my death. So those 2 prayers address the big 2 reasons that I fall into sin. I stop listening to God, and I stop connecting with the communion of saints, including those living here in the world and those in heaven praying for me. I've just cut myself off from my source. And those 2 prayers are there to reconnect me. And so the way I explain it to my son is I say, yes, you should do those prayers as your penance, but you should do more than that. Those prayers, I call them, are the prayers that get you praying. Prayers that get you praying. You need to pray more, but you definitely need to pray those. And so now when I hear those 2 prayers, Our Father and Hail Mary, I think to myself, that's the medicine that I need because of the disease that I've caught by entering into sin.